This is Radar on the Radar Entertainment Blog, coming to you another edition of Movie Reviews and Observations number 160. This week, I think I saw a good amount of movies that I saw, trailers for, like ads for, like they're like some big time films. I wasn't watched a lot of small ones. So the first movie I watched was Memory with Liam Neeson. Guy Pearce was in it. So let me say this. I think I've seen every Liam Neeson movie for the most part, and they all usually are similar. Someone's kidnapped, he's got to take care of that person, or someone's in danger, he's got to protect him. We all know him as Ra's al Ghul in Batman, and he was in Star Wars. Can't pronounce the guy's name, but he's been in a lot of movies to be this action hero guy. And most of his movies are not horrible. Just, you can't say every single movie he's made is great. This movie, in my opinion, was a little lacking, dragged on a bit. He had a movie years ago called Unknown where you couldn't remember who he was, Amnesia. This one, he's battling like Alzheimer's or whatever it is, early onset's one. So I was like, a little similar to something he's done before. And it was okay. It wasn't that great. Some of the people on this FBI team weren't believable in the role. And yeah, so I was like, it's, okay of a movie, trying to figure out, who this bad person is that's pulling all the strings and trying to set things right, even though he's like an assassin in the movie. So overall, it's like, you know what? It was okay. Not his best movie, but all right. Then I watched Chris Pine in The Contractor, and I'm like always sold that he's going to be this second Captain Kirk. He was in Wonder Woman. Like, those are big time roles for this guy. And then I see him in a lot of other movies over the years. And I felt like this one was like an alright movie. It wasn't his best movie. It wasn't the greatest movie. It's very similar to a lot of other movies where you get guys out of the military and they are in special ops, and then something goes wrong and you got to save the day and all this other stuff. So I was like, okay, interesting that Kiefer Sutherland was in this movie. He's now playing the roles that his father's been doing the last 20-something years of my life, playing an older guy who's in charge of stuff, and he's like been through a lot. And Gillian Jacobs, I know her from Community. I know her more in a comedy role, and most of her roles. It's interesting she was playing his wife. I thought it was an interesting, action suspense movie, barely an hour and 43 minutes, so it didn't drag on, and I've had enough action scenes. It was okay. It wasn't like it's the best movie I watched. I liked it. It's a watchable movie. Then I saw Charm City King, where Meek Mill is in this movie, and the other guy in the movie is Tattoo Man. And in this thing, William Catlett. So this movie is basically about these people like in the Baltimore area, where it's all about like dirt bikes. And this kid's brother was famous for it, but tragically passed away. So the guy who I just mentioned, who was in Black Lightning, is a cop, and he's looking out for this kid. But then there's the person in charge of the dirt bike gang who's taking him under his wing. And I was like, I'm going to put this movie out in the background after a stressful day of looking at apartments and all this other stuff. And I'm probably not going to like it because I tried watching it before. It's 2 hours, so you got to be prepared to sit through 2 hours of this drama. But I was like, man, whoever plays this child in this movie, like this teenager, I think he was a middle schooler, really good job. I was really sold on his life story and what he was doing and what he's going through, and it turned out to be a better movie than I thought based on the description and the cover, and seeing Meek Mill playing the dude who's like the gangster guy rapper. He's a rapper playing some gang guy dude who's in jail and he's in a gang. And I was like, it's actually like charming type of movie where you're trying to see if this guy what path he's going to go down, how's he going to survive everything in life. I just thought, wow, it was pretty good. I'm surprised. Then I watched a kids movie called The Bad Guys. We got like Sam Rockwell, Craig Robinson, and Aquafina, who's overly hyped and stuff. But Rockwell's playing like the lead wolf. Craig Robinson's playing the shark. Wasn't too familiar with the snake or the piranha. But Zazie Beetz was the fox in the movie, and there was a little gerbil, one of these British guys, David Lawlio, whatever I think his name was. And it's like a clever movie for kids that you can't just be judged based on your appearance. Oh, the big bad wolf. Oh, the scary piranha or the snake or the shark. Or, ooh, it's a tarantula. Like, you can't just based on things like that. And, like, it's like whimsical, clever movie. Whoever wrote this, I thought did a good job with introducing everybody, setting the stakes, what the goals were in this movie. Like, it came down to it being really quality type of movie there. And I was like, yeah, that's not bad. I I liked it. I really enjoyed it. I like kids should watch it. It's barely 90 minutes. Then I watched The Strong Ones again. Came home from stuff and was like, I don't want to watch a 2-hour movie. I don't want to sit through something I really want to watch. So I put this on because it's like 90-something minutes. Based on reading the back of the Spanish movie, it's like some dude visits his sister in a remote town in southern Chile. And he's working in that area and he meets another dude and they have a romance. And trust me, there's lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of makeout scenes and lots and lots and lots of naked gay sex in this movie. So it's definitely not for everybody. It's accurately described on the back of this library copy under drama, romance, LGBT, foreign language, Spanish. It's all under that. It wasn't a bad movie, but it was very obvious just based on reading the script that you know exactly what happens and what's going on. I was like, okay, cool. So my answer is like, so what? Why make this movie? It's just, you could have told the story in 10 minutes. Like that, there we go. That's it. Then I watched The Duke, and it was very clever because I've seen some British movies like about that dude who got into like the golf tournament. So this was about this dude who Jim Broadbent's playing. His wife is Helen Mirren, where he's always fighting for causes that are against the little man his whole life. And they have an idea that you should steal the famous painting of the Duke, you know, from the National Gallery in London. And it was the first and only theft in the history because, you know, back then there wasn't all security. And the whole thing was he wanted to have the government provide television for free to the elderly because they were charging people for that. And, you know, again, barely 95 minutes, cute, quirky, clever, really enjoyed it. I thought it was a well-made movie. I would definitely suggest it. It's got some charm to it. Yeah, it was really good acting in this movie by all the actors. Then I watched Bullet Train with Brad Pitt. And here's the thing. It's like 2 hours long. There's some post-credit scenes, whatever the case is. It's listed as action, thriller, whatever. So you need to like view this movie as it's not going to be the most serious action movie that you've ever seen that Brad Pitt's been in, or take it very seriously. Because they got Bad Bunny, the singer-rapper, to be in the movie, and his character was very telenovela-esque. Because they're like introducing every character. Like once a character popped on the screen, they're like, oh, we got to give you this whole entire backstory of where he's from. And you're like, okay. And then there was some characters where like, one guy is like a father, and he's there because of his son, and then his father's also there as a samurai, and this Joey King is this girl who's supposed to be really clever, and then Brian Tyrese Henry and Aaron Taylor Johnson, one, I know from Atlanta, but most people probably know him from The Eternal, and, the Taylor Johnson dude, we know him from Kick-Ass and the Avengers franchise, and he's been in a lot of stuff, and, like, no offense to Brian Tyrese Henry, he is not British, okay? I don't know how they didn't catch this, but there were at least a couple of scenes that he talked. He dropped his fake British accent. He sounded 100% like he was from Atlanta, like from the south of the United States. I don't know who was in charge of noticing that, but he did not sound British whatsoever. In some parts of the movie, and pretending to be British was silly. You could have just got a British actor. There's plenty of them. But I like him. I'm glad he's getting this coming up, says what he deserves from being on the great television show Atlanta. And then again, Zazie Beetz was in this movie as well. She was one of this quote-unquote assassins, because all these like assassins with all their cool backstories of why they're on the train and what's going on. And Brad Pitt's like, yeah, I'm just filling in for somebody, and I have bad luck. And yeah, the whole goal is like to survive this bullet train with all these assassins and get off the stop. But then the person that hired you and all this other stuff, Michael Shannon, was pretty good. It's just the wig was a little bit too much. And him only talking in Japanese and having a weird accent also doesn't really fit. I don't know who the character originally was supposed to be, but that was interesting. So yeah, you don't take this movie very seriously. And you just go, you know what, I'm going to go on a huge action adventure ride. Similar to like the likes of Deadpool, more than anything else. And yeah, Brad Pitt is trying to do these Zen roles. He was in that movie where Sandra Bullock was an author and Channing Tatum was like the actor pretending to be the guy on the cover of the book, and like the whole movie that movie was Brad Pitt was the guy who knew what he was doing, but then Channing Tatum had to like improvise. Channing Tatum had a brief cameo, which was interesting, but for the most part, like Brad Pitt was like, I don't like guns, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that, but like, how are you going to survive all of this stuff that happened? So you got to like take it with a grain of salt and go, you know what? I just want to sit down and watch a movie that was enjoyable. That's what it is with Bullet Train, The Duke, The Bad Guys. Those are probably the three best movies I watched because I enjoyed myself watching all three of these movies. When it comes to, The Contractor and Memory, if you're just fans of Chris Pine and Liam Neeson and it's supposed to be like an action movie, you watch it, you enjoy it. May not be the best film or the best in their catalog, but it was good. The strong ones, unless you want to sit through a Spanish movie and you want to sit through a movie about two guys having gay sex and making out and their whole relationship and romance, go ahead, do it. If not, just completely skip it. And then Charm City Kings will actually surprise you how good it was. Thanks again for listening to another edition of Movie Reviews Observation number 160. For On the Red Blog, I'm Radar. See you guys next time.